Welcome to the School of Wordcraft and Worldmancy. This is Feedback Frenzy.
All right, welcome to this Submit Saturday article critique. Today, for this segment, we are going to be critiquing Kitoypoy's Lapin article. All right, so we'll go ahead and do that. The link has been put into the chat. I'm going to get smooth with this. Thank you, and I appreciate everyone who's been submitting the articles, and I'll get smoother with this. All right, so let's take a look at this. Is the Lapin. It is an ethnicity article. Okay, so we have here. Okay, it looks like I may have I have critiqued this one before because I did like it before. So let's go ahead and see what the changes are. But first of all, let's do just an overview of the image. Okay, this is the page. Okay, it's okay. Don't worry, Kit. Don't worry. I'm glad to do it. No, you already. Yes, I will take another one. If you want to submit another one, I will just do this as well. Because I have this one, and then I have a Mad God's Gamble ritual. So if you submit a third one, I'm okay. We got all day. Okay, but this is going to help me clarify the concepts that I want to do when I review an article. First of all, let's talk about the overview and the layout. Okay, the overview of this. Okay, again, talking about the headers, this is an example of what I think is a good-sized header. It gives the image, it gives the world it's a part of, and it also gives, I guess that's the Shards of Thea is kind of like a subtitle. So I like what I'm seeing here. And I know exactly it's Lapin. Okay, I know exactly what it's about. Okay, where a different article that we reviewed previously was, I don't know. At initial load, I don't know what this article is about.
Sprinters and marchers, let's go.
Yeah, this is one of my generic summer camp headers. Okay, yeah. And we do have the little summer camp person here. Love the Best of World Anvil 2021 nominee. Congratulations. Okay, we have here, we got this. This is the pledge. I like seeing that here because it intrigues others to continue to read in your world. That's a start of a hook. I really don't know what this circle twirly thing is. Oh, it's that. I don't know if I'm a fan of this. I can appreciate what it is. I don't know if I'm a fan. All right, so so it's a 2-column thing. We have pretty much straight text, and we have some shared links in the side. Okay. Good, straightforward, not too complicated. As much as I love the image right in the background and how beautiful it is, it feels loud. And it does feel a little bit distracting from the article. Compared to what, a plain background, this draws, you just want to focus on this because how beautiful it is. But that's a challenge. Like, can I open? Nope, I cannot. I was thinking I could right click and search engine. No. All right. I really like having the breadcrumbs up here at the top. The rabbits in the moon were fierce warriors during the war against the far realm. Without their native knowledge of the moon after the shattering, the mortals of Arathia could very well have been exterminated. We owe our thanks. We owe them our thanks. We owe our thanks. The instructor of recruits. Okay. We don't get many of them down here, dirt side, but the few rabbit warriors I run into were tough sons of bunnies. They were on the small side, but those little mother fluffles can jump. Sergeant Killflayer. Okay, so the hook we have here, you went with the double quote, and it provided contrast. Okay, so we have the intellectual and we have the warrior. I'm liking the double quotes because this allows people to see instantly two sides of the rabbits, or how they are perceived in two ways. And so I do like that because we can see how thankful they are. A very druid, guru type response, where this is a warrior's response. So we get to have a little bit more flavor of the world, and we get to see both sides of the mother fluffles sons of bunnies. You know, the 12-year-old in me just giggles sometimes with almost swearing. I mean, yeah, anyway. I'm very proud of Mother Fluffles. You should be. All right. The tribe of... Let's zoom in here a little bit. Okay, really can't... Oh, yeah. You had to zoom in way to get rid of that sidebar. Now, see, and this is... okay, so let's talk about links or tooltips. Personally, I love having as many tooltips as possible. I think it is an invitation for people to learn more. The challenge is when it's zoomed in like this, then it covers your whole thing, and I can't use my mouse as a way to ensure that I'm reading all of the words as written, not what I think is in my head. That being said, very few people are going to read articles here at 300% magnification. So I think we're fine with that. I would rather over link than underlink. If you were to err on the side, the amount of link is probably personal preference, but I would rather overlink than under. The tribe of rabbit folk. This tribe of rabbit folk live in the Great Warren on the Lapin Shard. Their settlement floats a mile above the surface of the shattered moon, and they travel amongst the other shards of Theia with the moon balloons that they developed themselves. All right. Let's see, who, what, where, why, when, and how. Who, and this answers who, where, and how they get around. Okay. I like this detail about them traveling between the moon shards with the moon balloons, but I don't know if it is important enough to have it in the first paragraph of your text. You could talk about, there are many things you can talk about. You talked about the fact they're rabbit folk, where they live, but you're not talking about their culture, their best attributes, their size and shape. Well, you did say that on the small side here, but you're telling about their modes of transportation between the shards. So that tells me, whether intentional or not, the fact that they are travelers between the shards is their most important attribute that you want me to know about. True or not? That's just you you put that as the most important thing in the first. If anybody reads this article and they only read one paragraph, I know that there are rabbits that live on the shattered moon that travel with moon balloons. Okay. Let me shrink this down. No, I'll stay here. Before the night of the shattered moon, the Lapin were one of the dozen tribes of rabbit folk who eked out a living on a moon that barely supported life. Their great warren, built underneath the largest beech tree on the moon, was also the largest settlement on the moon, with a population of around 8,000 rabbit folk and a few other sophons. They lived a peaceful life of farming and limited trading among far-flung settlements. Okay. You're using on a moon, on the moon, on the moon. So that's 3 times you use the phrase either on the moon or on a moon in it. That did feel a little bit much. We know they're on the moon. Like, okay, we built underneath the largest beech tree on the moon, which was the largest settlement on the moon. We know that they're underneath the beech tree, and the beech tree is on the moon. We probably don't need this on the moon here. Was also the largest settlement with a population of around 8,000 rabbit folk. Okay. Then their world literally shattered at the beginning of the Far War. The great warren was thrown into the sky, where it miraculously remained in place. And every other tribe was wiped out. The armies of the Farum garioned on the shattered surface, and the rabbits hid in their newly created Lapin shard. Okay. And of course, good use of the tooltip.
Sprinters take 5. Marchers only 15 more.
Until the shattering, the Lapin lived an idyllic life in harmony with the moon and few worries. Now they found themselves living in the remnants of their world, in the middle of interdimensional war and literally floating in the air. They hid from the invading forces for as long as possible. When the time came, they had to adapt or die. These rabbits did more than that. They learned how to fight. I love that sentence. I mean, you could almost take that as another quote. If you wanted to have a pull quote, sometimes as you're reading in a nonfiction book, it's just a wall of text. And or a newspaper article, and a way to make people interested in it is you could have a pull quote. Why am I yawning? Maybe I'm not breathing. You could have that have that as a pull quote, and so people can see it and they get that hint of what's going on. And just say, they had to adapt or die. They did more. Then these rabbits did more than that. They learned how to fight. I just think that's an awesome sentence. Worthy of a pull quote. The Lapins were a matriarchal society led by the mother rabbit with a tradition of strong druidic magic. Some say that deep in the warren at the heart of the Lapin shard, the tears of the mother upon fleeing the death of Thea are what hold the shards in the sky. Others dismiss such notions as old rabbit tales. Okay, so this is a very heavy sentence that has a lot of information in it. You're literally saying an entire folk tale or folklore in one sentence. Some say that deep in the warren, at the heart of the Lapin shard, the tears of the mother upon feeling the death of Thea. Okay, see, I think that part right there. You could pull that out as a little story or poem. Or you could just split this sentence up as well. Some say that deep in the warren lies the heart of the lap. Okay, no, not at the heart. It isn't a thing, because you have heart and tears. Heart is a metaphorical location. Tears is a real thing. Some say that deep in the warren, the mother cried, period. Her tears fell upon, fill in the blank, and the Lapin believe her tears are what hold all the shards in the sky. I think by expanding that from one sentence into three, keeping the sentences a little bit shorter, and having each sentence focus on one thing, the mother cried, the tears fell, and the result. Who, mother, what, tears falling, and what was the result of that. I think taking that one sentence and breaking it into three, I think will provide more information that is more easily consumed. Regardless of the truth, the Lapin made the best of the horrific situation they were trapped in. They took the miracle they were given and were determined to make something of it. Okay, they took the miracle they were given and determined to make something. I don't want to tell you what to do, but I'm going to tell you what to do. They took the miracle of a second chance. Okay.
Only 10 minutes left, everyone.
Because
let's squeeze out the words.
Because here you're saying they took the miracle, and then you were saying the miracle was given. So the verb took is directed to miracle, and also given is directed to miracle. I don't think you need both. They took the miracle and were determined to make something of it. I don't think you need the word took and given, because they both point to the word miracle. I think you could just take one, and when you think about it, which word would better suit? Are the rabbits proactive in taking miracles, or are they passive to receive the miracle? And then what kind of miracle? I think that we need a little bit more to know what kind of a miracle this is. Is it a miracle of survival? A miracle of second chances? A miracle of a quality that they would most appreciate having received or taken? Okay. All right, so now we get into, okay, they created the moon balloon technology to allow them to travel to the other newly created shards. Okay, they turned their farming implements, flails, sickles, pitchforks, into weapons of war. When the mortal enemy armies of the Shattered Moon Coalition came upon them, they were shocked to discover a capable society that had been tempered by the struggles they had been through. Okay, this needs to be split up. Okay, so here, This is a reaction to the miracle. I think you could have a nice paragraph about the reaction to the miracle and explain they were to make something of it, and then maybe more explicitly state this is what they did with their second chance. Okay, they probably, and the order in which you provide these is interesting, because the order here implies that the moon balloon technology was developed before their farming implements were turned into weapons of war. And here, they turned their farm implements, flails, sickles, and pitchforks, into weapons of war. Okay? If you were to break this out into into a larger sentence, or maybe even its own paragraph, I would take the description. I would say they turned their farming implements into weapons of war. Flails became cat of nine tails. Sickles became halberds, and pitchforks became something else. You could really get into that description there of what weapons of war. And then that could be really interesting, because then that paints a picture of the traditional or symbolical, the symbolism, no, not symbolism. It can be iconic. Ooh, tridents, yeah, pitchforks into tridents. Yeah. But see, are they travelers or are they warriors? And then here, when the armies of the Shattered Moon Coalition came upon them, they were shocked to discover a capable society that had been tempered by the struggles they had been through. This definitely needs to be its own paragraph. And when did this happen? Did they turn their weapons in war into elements of war before the Shattered Moon armies showed up, or as a result of them showing up? Because you could take this half of a paragraph here, switch it around, and say the armies showed up and were surprised. The Lapins, in response to this army showing up, then turned their weapons into they created weapons. Okay, so order in which you are providing the information, especially in a short form nonfiction article like that, the most important is at the top, and usually in the sequence of the order of the events happening. The Lapin joined the Far Ward with the other mortal races, eventually winning their home back and claiming their status as the only Sophist native to the Shattered Moon. Okay, back from whom? And who took it from them? Was it the Shattered Moon Coalition? And was developing their weapons a method the method used to take back? They developed their own weapons, their own martial arts skills, to be able to then, over time, win it back. So there's so much juicy information here. I love the juicy information in here, because it hints to so much more. And I'm just feeling like the information and how it's presented here isn't in a sequential or timeline thing. This happened, then that. If this, then that. This happened, then that. This is the result. That might make the Lapin seem more responsive, not responsive, reactive instead of proactive. However, usually in the hero's cycle, the first act and the first half of the second act, meaning the first half of the book up to the midpoint turn, the hero is reactive, and it's at the midpoint they become proactive. So I'm just wondering, what is the Lapin's, so as you're describing the Lapins, what is the midpoint that turned them from scared bunnies in a warren to fierce warriors that earned the respect of the orc at the beginning of the articles, Sergeant Killflayer? What was that point? So everything before the description of that point in the article needs to be presented in a more reactive manner. After that point, it should be presented as proactive action. And the proactive action could be where you talk about their weapons. So today, the Lapin enjoy their status as heroes of the Far War. Although allied with Thea's Vindicators, they are not officially part of that organization. Regardless, they have an agreement with the Vindicators that any Lapin may secure an open berth on the monthly flight of Telperion skyships traveling between the moon and the world below. On the moon, with the elves and druids focused on their eternal war, the rabbits maintain trade between the far-flung shards. Their moon balloons are a welcome sight for shard dwellers not involved in the ongoing hunt for the remaining aberrations. Okay, aberrations probably needs a tooltip, because that's cool. Elves and druids, if you have articles for there, I would throw those in there. Interesting here, trade. So is this the third evolution of the Lapin? It sounds like it could be. The first act, they were cowering away and trying to survive. The second act, they become warriors who have won their freedom. Their third act is they have become traders and welcomed people throughout the shards. It's more than first act, second act, third act. That's more like first movie, second movie, third movie. Okay. But yeah, it's like 3 generations. Like, my father was a warrior so that I could be a merchant. My grandfather... Oh, okay. Maybe you'll like
Sprinters
this.
and marchers, time is up.
My grandfather dug in the earth so that... my father dug through the earth so that my father could protect it. My father became a warrior so that I would know peace. My son will... my children will travel the shards, bringing hope to those around. I mean, that could be really poetic as a way to summarize the transformation of the Lapin. My grandfather did, my father, I do this, and so that, each generation of Lapin sacrificed so much so that the next generation could have more and hope that they don't have to return. And so my children will travel the stars so they do not have to dig in the dirt. They will travel the shards. So you could really expand that out. And then as a launching pad into stories, you can then pick different characters from each generation. What was a first generation Lapin like? What was a second generation? What was the third? What was the fourth generation Lapin like? Because you could have your grandpa, from the point of view of the fourth generation, great grandpa was a dirt farmer who survived the Great Depression or the shattering. In our parlance, we could think of our great-grandfathers who suffered through the Great Depression 100 years ago. And then we can think of our grandparents who went to war, World War II, to bring peace so that my father could build a better place, 50s, 60s, so that I could then do this as a merchant. Okay. Really, I think that adds so much more epic scale and can be done rather quickly with a paragraph or two, or a poem, or a mantra, or maybe a poem. I think that would be a better poem. Yeah. Feel free, Kitoypoy. Okay. I need to look to see. I do ask. I put a rough of that at the bottom I need to work on. Okay, no worries. So let's take, what should Greg know before? No, I'm going to take, I need to word wrap that. World building, content editor, grammar line edits, what's missing from the article. Okay, so I think we've covered the world building and content edit. I don't have any grammar issues, but I do think there was a lot of clarity that could be done by switching the sentences around. Missing from article, I really like the idea of the scope, the 4 generations of Lapins, and the potentiality that provides. Yeah. Yeah, good stuff. Okay. So, yeah, I think we're good with that. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching this article critique from our Submit Saturdays. If you would like to have your article submitted, please visit wgc.bz.
I don't know what I'm doing.
Better start writing anyway.
wgc.bz/submit, and your article or fiction could be featured and critiqued in a future Submit.
Thanks for watching this feedback frenzy. Be sure to show your support by liking this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell. WriterGreg offers coaching sessions to help bring your world to life, create compelling stories, and accomplish your creative goals. Please visit wgc.bz/coaching for more details.